This is all kinds of bad.
It's bad all the way around. As we say, innocent until proven guilty, but it's bad all the way around. If it turns out that he did do it and orchestrate it, it's terrible. And if it turns out that he didn't, it's also terrible. I'm not sure if you saw the correction that just came across the wires that it was not. He wasn't indicted by a grand jury, but that was the prosecutor, right? But still, it's been interesting trying to report on this particular story. And we've done several reports on this show, just the facts straight. Here's what we know, here's what we don't know. Because you don't want to get into a place where you're just sort of speculating about things.
Right.
And we don't know what happened.
And a lot of the media did that, and in politics too.
A lot of the media. If you look at every single report on this show, it'll show you that it was just stray things. And then I also did a talk where I talked about having empathy for victims and I spoke to Jussie. Nothing about the veracity of this story, because that's not my concern. That's something that he has to deal with. But as human beings, if someone says that they are a victim, then you can have some sort of empathy for them. Doesn't mean that you know what the outcome of the investigation is going to be.
Right, but the real problem is that the next time somebody says this, will they be believed less?
Yeah. And
we already have a problem with victims not wanting to come forward, especially when you get into sensitive communities like LGBTQ, where people are worried about coming forward. Does this have a chilling effect? Does this make people less likely to want to come forward? That's the concern.
Yeah. Here's someone that we both know, who you would be surprised of how you would think that they would think the exact opposite of what you're saying. I'm not going to say who they are. I'll just share just a little bit about it. I said that same thing to them, and the person says, it does, but in a weird way, it won't. There is something extremely up in our society for him to feel compelled to do that if he did. And so there's some sort of pathos, and that's what we need to, he says, we need to have the conversation in the way that only you can have it on your show. And we need to work beyond those things. We need to have the conversation more openly, like you did in that interview. I feel bad for him, even though if he is wrong, he hurt a lot of people if he did it with their actions. So I think maybe it's an opportunity to talk about these issues. I don't think it undercuts that there are real victims out there of homophobia, real victims of racism, but you didn't have to embellish because things are already bad. You understand what I'm saying?
Understood.
Yeah.
And look, there's always a lesson in every one of these for all of us. There can be a temptation to go fast. It's almost always better to go slow.
We've got a whole lot of people. We have some folks who know him. We've got some legal minds who are going to talk to us about what's in his future, and then I'm going to give my take on it at the top of the show. So I'll see you in a minute.
I look forward to
that.
Hey,
I'm sorry. How you feeling? How you doing?
I need this show to end.
Did you tell people you're not feeling well?
No, but thanks. Now I will.
I got dressed
I think I ate
early.
something, and it's going downhill fast. I was actually going to hand the show off to Don now, but I can't do that to you. Talk about making somebody sick.
Well, if you need to, just let me know. I'm ready.
I'm talking about the audience. I don't really get 2 hours of you already.
No, I got dressed early for you. I've been dressed since 9 o'clock.
You are a friend through and through.
Feel better, okay?
Thank you, pal. Appreciate it.